everyone! Today we are going to be making this miniature sectional couch. Now the design was based off this couch I found online by a quick Google search. You do not need to follow any exact measurements. The best idea is to measure how much space you have in your dollhouse and also to make sure that your preferred dolls can sit and lay on it comfortably. So after you make the basic shape with paper, you'll need to cut the same shape out of 5mm foam board. This will serve as a basis for the entire couch, so you'll want to do a good job. Third step will be to cut the same shape out of cushion material. The only difference is that you'll want to cut the sides slightly bigger so you can make these slanted edges. There we go. Then you can glue it all together using a hot glue gun. You can see me here, I'm gluing it all together. And cut the cushions on an angle to the foam board to make that slanted edge I spoke about. Here we have the base, or the bottom part of our couch. Next, you should shallow cut the couch up into sections, which will be divided up when you put the fabric on. It gives it a more realistic look, and I found it to be easier to apply the fabric in sections instead of on the entire surface at once. Your fabric should be cut to fit tightly on each of the sections. As a side note, it doesn't really matter what kind of material or color you choose, but it will look better if the fabric is thicker because it will hide any inconsistencies like lumps and bumps, and thicker fabric, in my opinion, also makes it look more realistic. Of course, the next step will be to glue all the cut fabric on. It really needs to be as firm as possible. I used so much glue for this. Make sure you put it between the section gaps as well. I also used a staple gun, but you probably don't need to do that. It doesn't hurt, but it's not that necessary. Any extra fabric should be cut off as it makes it easier to glue everything on. Then the whole process can be repeated for the other sections of the couch. Just make sure that you put glue in all the little gaps so that everything is as firm as possible and holds together well. Here you can see the side with the slightly slanted edge. The backboard of the couch should be cut out with the same 5mm foam board. Measure it based on the couch that you are making, so you can make it as high or low as you need it. Cut your fabric precisely to cover the backboard and glue it on as firmly as possible. Any extra fabric should be cut off. After that's done, glue it to the back of your couch. There will be some spaces on the side of the headboard, so cut out little pieces of foam board. One of mine is a square shape and the other has a more slanted edge. Cover them in your fabric and glue them on. Using the same cushioning material as before, you'll have to cut 3 pieces, which will sit on top of the base of the couch. These can be cut and modelled in a circular way on the side, and then once again, firmly cover the pieces with fabric using hot glue. Cut any extra fabric or jagged edges and glue it all down. Then you can glue the seating cushions in place on the couch. And once again, use as much glue as possible. Glue at the back between the headboard and the cushion, between the pieces. Basically, just make sure that all of the pieces are glued together firmly. Based on the original design, there are 2 pieces which should be glued on an angle. So this is one of them. The this piece here is the other one which needs to sit on an angle. At the back of the couch there are 3 cushions or pillows, so these should be cut out of the same cushion material. To make these more realistic, I recommend cutting them in a rounded way at the top and on the sides. Then when you glue the fabric on, they look really nice, as you can see here. And by now you probably know the next step will be to glue them on as firmly as possible. We also want to make this cute cylindrical headrest, which is at the back of the couch. Now to do that, all you have to do is use the same cushioning material and cut it up into a cylinder and cover that up with fabric. Once you have stuck the headrest onto the top of the couch, we can get to the very last step of this tutorial, which is making the legs. I used a wooden slat and cut it into 6 pieces. I sandpapered them down to make them smooth, as my sewing wasn't exactly ideal. Then they can be glued on. And that's our finished product! Thank you so much for following along. This was my very first tutorial, so I would love to have your input. Don't forget to subscribe and check back for more content on my channel.